Hi and welcome. So today I wanted to share a bit more about emotional eating and boundaries and how they go together. So if you're new here, welcome. My name is Michelle. I'm a certified holistic nutritionist specializing in emotional eating. And so today I wanted to share a bit more about boundaries and how emotional eating pattern sort of plays into your boundaries. So something that I notice with most of my clients is that they tend to be people pleasers. They tend to feel a bit intimidated by putting up boundaries, and this triggers them into emotional eating and soothing with food. So why do these two things go together? It sort of seems like there's emotional eating and then there are boundaries. And so what's going on? And so, of course, if you've been on this emotional eating journey, you've been trying diets and you've been trying all of the surgeries and the trying to fix yourself, you know that you're still stuck. There's so much more to this pattern. It's multi-layered, and that there are so many other things under the surface that's going on. And so I want to share with you why boundaries or maybe lack of boundaries seem to go together with this emotional eating pattern. So emotional eating is when we use food to soothe ourselves from any discomfort or uncomfortable emotions. When we're people pleasers, what that means is that we do things that we don't necessarily want to do because we think it's being nice or being a good person. We have these set of behaviors that we think a good person would do. And so it doesn't mean it's authentic to us, or in that moment we're capable of actually doing that. We feel obligated to do that. And when we go against our deeper self and knowing, what happens is that creates like an unrest inside of us, because part of us is like, this isn't right for us. This isn't authentic. And so there's this discomfort that comes up, even though we're on the surface doing the nice thing, the correct behavior, we're being the good person. This discomfort is still bubbling up. And so we do the thing, we people please, and that discomfort's coming up. And that discomfort is coming up to tell us that most likely a boundary is being crossed. Something internally is not correct for us, but we still do it anyways because we think that's what we should be doing. And so this discomfort, as it comes up, what do? We go to food to soothe ourselves. So we keep acting out the good person role, and we keep people pleasing, and we keep doing the right thing. So there's this layer, tick, 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 this is a good person. And we keep adhering to that. And this discomfort that's coming up, that's maybe telling us this isn't right for us, that inner knowing, we keep stuffing it down with food. We keep pushing it down because we don't know how to listen to it. We think something's wrong with feeling uncomfortable. And so we don't know what to do with it. So we eat the food, we soothe, we go into that automatic pattern. Maybe not even realizing we're feeling that discomfort. We're so used to being that good person and doing the right things that we don't know how to slow down and feel that discomfort. All we see is this emotional eating on the surface. And so the thing is that the more out of control your emotional eating is, the more you're feeling discomfort and unease, maybe with the way you're being, with your life, and you keep using food, you're not looking at the deeper issue of what's going on. And so that's how emotional eating and boundaries and people pleasing are interconnected. Of course, there are other layers to the emotional eating pattern that might even play into this. So if you're a people pleaser, or you're not aware of your own boundaries, you might not be nourishing yourself well throughout the day or taking breaks. You might not be treating your body correctly because you're pushing past your limits in other areas of your life. And so, you might not be able to physically take the actions you need to care for yourself because you're putting everyone else first. You're putting everyone else's needs first. You're putting your work first because inside of you, it's bubbling up. And I know this can be a hard place to be in, because if you've been living this way for so long, you might think, what do I do now? Do I just completely overhaul all my life? And it's not about that. It's about getting in touch with you first before you make any external decisions, and really getting into that pattern, getting into the root of it. And it might be something simple that you need to shift, and it opens you up to a new way of being. And so this is what happens with clients when they come into my program. It's sort of like, it's hard to grasp this because this is the deeper work we need to do. And by deeper work and transformational work, it's not, it doesn't have to be like this big thing. It actually can be very simple. We just need the right tools and processes and strategies to really move through it. But it can be almost simple, and it's taking that next step. And of course, when you're in a program, you have support to help you move forward and take action steps that might be difficult or you haven't done before, because you're so used to being in this role of putting everyone else before you, of not having boundaries. It's scary to do that because you weren't modeled that. You weren't given permission to have that. There's a reason you're in this role of people pleaser. There's a reason you're in this role of not having boundaries, because this is how you learn to survive. And a byproduct of that is feeling that discomfort. So you had to be a certain way, and what you were truly feeling, you weren't accepted for, or weren't allowed to sort of move through that to see what was correct for you. So we've got sort of this double layer happening. This part of you, almost like everything you were told on the outside to be a good person, is in charge. Is it really you? Well, no, not necessarily. It's trying to protect you and help you survive. It's a survival part of you. And the deeper part of you that's like, no, this feels uncomfortable, you put food on top of it and shove it down. And so what we need to do is get in touch with these layers of you, these parts of you, and really start meeting those deeper needs, giving them new solutions and new ways forward, because the part of you that's in charge right now, thinking you have to be a certain person, it's limited in the way it views the world. And so emotional eating is this doorway to your evolution for this reason. It's to open you up to a new way of being, because the way you've been doing things, it's not working. And so when clients work with me inside of the Emotional Eating Evolution program, there is this shift of creating boundaries and creating space so that they can care for themselves, they can hear themselves, they can connect with themselves on this deeper level, so that they can move forward more powerfully. Because it gets really tiring, it gets really old, it gets really frustrating to keep doing things this way. That's why you would even be watching a video like this, because you're just at your end. And so I wish it was different. I wish it was happening sooner, because it would be a little bit easier to work through the pattern, or it would not, you wouldn't have to be in this much pain, but you're here for a reason. And so this is how we move through the pattern. We are here seeing how it's impacting our lives. And when you start connecting those dots, so you people please, you kind of give of yourself too much, you're overgiving, overextending, you have no boundaries, you don't know how to, set boundaries that feel aligned and good and empowered, because you feel badly when you do, and then you emotionally eat, and it's this big kind of like convoluted thing. When you clear that up and you get in touch with your true needs and they're aligned, and you start seeing that you are allowed to have needs, you are meant to have needs, like you're meant to take up space, you're meant to take care of yourself. You didn't come here to be a martyr. And so that's where you start creating this new way forward. And that's how you start creating that around you, with the people you have, with your situations in life. And that's how you feel, more at ease in your life, because you're able to create those boundaries. And of course, at first, it's not the easiest thing, because it's a new way of being. It's going to be challenging. It's going to be scary. But when you have support and accountability and someone who's been through it and can guide you through it, then you're able to take that next step a lot quicker, with a lot more ease, with a lot more confidence. And then you build that internally, because you see it's okay to take the next step. You see how you feel when you kind of break through that barrier. So we work with this inside of the Emotional Eating Evolution program as this resistance is coming up, because we're creating a new way of being with food, with your body, and with your emotions. And, you know, you need to create certain sort of structure in your life. There are certain space you need to take and time. And it's important that you recognize that you're important. And if you are empty, you can't give of yourself. You need to be putting in these things in place, because at this point, if you're, you know, in this emotional eating pattern and people pleasing, you've been depleted. You need to start filling back up and creating that structure so you can give when you're full. And that's a different type of giving. It's not going to feel like frustrating. You're not going to feel resentful. It's going to be a giving from more of an overflow. And that's what we're looking for. And so we do this inside of the Emotional Eating Evolution program by connecting you to food, your body, and your emotions. There's a step-by-step process. There's guidance. There's a weekly office hours to help you move through resistance, as well as the deeper somatic meditations for those deep-rooted blocks and those deep-rooted unresolved situations that we need to move through so that you can create momentum and move forward. And so if you're interested in finding out more about the Emotional Eating Evolution program, I'll put the link below. And if you're ready to resolve this pattern and you want more clarity, you can also book in an emotional eating clarity call. So on the call, we find out more about you, what your struggles are, what your goals are, and if we can support you in the program and if we'd be a good fit to work together. So you can check out those links below. So if what I've shared with you today resonates, let me know. If you have any questions, please let me know as well. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't, and I look forward to sharing more with you, and I hope you have a great day.